this, it will support your team. So, yep, there you go. So, but before we go to our next segment, let's check out the recap from the previous round. As usual, we'll look at the circle and their rotations. Early in the game, no early confrontations. But again, the trend is get into the circle in the middle. If you go in, it's in the middle. Not many teams actually gatekeep. Only Konina Power gatekeeping because they are confident that there's Bigetron Red Alien as well as Secret Jin trying to move on to the main island. And the circle still shifts towards their side. They didn't really need to move that much, but that's where they got their first spill kills.
But the hard shift from the circle is just into no man's land. Look at that. Team Secret Rex is at the edge of it. I don't know why Rex just now was so far apart from Matoy and Yuhai, if you notice. Maybe he was pinned down by the teams coming from the southern side, including Konina Power perhaps. But we're looking at the circle is being really cruel, torturing the players, hard shift all the way. And I'm surprised, if you notice, for Sanhok, usually it's one of the fastest, most aggressive match, right? But this time it's getting slower and slower. Sanhok is actually a bit slower than the rest of the other matches that we've casted here today, Cloud.
Yeah, it is. But of course, if it's slow at the start, towards the end, it becomes explosive. So, plus, the circle, although it looks good, so I'm going to change my statement a little bit. During the early game, it looks good, but as we see the circle actually play.
Guys, you can sell it $1 million one day.
True, I'm amazed. At the same time, before I get a bit of that here, of course, I would love to get myself some trading cards. However, ladies and gentlemen, here, this could be the recap of the map of how it all went down. Like I said, I did mention as well here, it was pretty spread out for all the teams here. Efficiency-wise was on a different level. Every single team had all the utilities that they needed to actually clutch this situation. However, the circle was kind of rough on some of the teams here, especially the teams coming from Alpha Island as well as the guys from Aerowolf from the southwest corner. Teams were struggling to push their way through here. But what was really interesting here, if you pay attention to how Bigetron rated is actually rotated here, they actually not use their usual drop spot. They actually opted to try and go and swim across, and they somehow managed to get into the zone eventually. However, there was a huge fight that was about to break down the southern section here. But meanwhile, Nova, they were one of the teams that actually spread out rather early as well. Remember how Order and the rest of the teams here, they were spread out in terms of compounds here. I think Konina Power did a very similar strategy here just to get a little bit more map control, right? It seems like I've had this discussion with the guys from Bigetron Reddit. The manager did tell me here, 4 a.m. is known to play 1-1-1-1 strat, where they kind of split out here to get a little bit more map control. And if you know that this particular player, you kind of want to rush them. So apparently it seems to be a pattern coming from Nova eSports as well as 4 a.m. where they love to kind of split out in terms of forces to play a little bit more map control and
maybe Stuck and Dialogue exchange places. But it's just these three guys the whole day here today. Where is old boy Navi? He was so great, supreme plays yesterday. But we're going to jump a bit of recap with Heart in Circle. It was really a tough one, especially the guys have to swim over. If you notice again, 4 a.m. Every single time the circle is too far from them, they were things like, okay, it's not centralized, we're going to go in very late because we just swipe everybody off from the back. But the other teams here, 4 a.m. just taking a longer route, just you mentioned before, they dock themselves at the shorelines, while some teams having a hard time on the southern side, especially come from boot camp and so forth. They just have to struggle so much to squeeze into that bridge towards Camp Alpha. That was a tough fight for them.
Yeah, but let's take a look at the recap of how it all went down here, especially with the fight in the southern section, right? Remember where Bigetron, they had a small fight against A7 here. They made the decision like, you know what, we need to finish off A7 as quickly as they can. Unfortunately, as soon as they did that, they were kind of in a pincer attack between both Konina Power as well as RRQ in the vicinity. And unfortunately, they say that was pretty much the end of the journey for that fight here. However, as the game progressed as well, the circle kind of ended into Alpha Island as well. I've talked about this a long time as well. Alpha Island is not an easy place to actually take without any kind of vehicles here. You're either there or you're not. And in this case,
and he he also contributes a lot, 27% contribution for the teams.
Again, it's very important to be noted that PUBG Mobile is a survival game.
Yeah.
So it's really amazing to see a Zio with that lot of, or the highest survival time. But right now, this is the recap from the game itself. From the first time or the early game of the Sanhok itself, it is divided by 3 locations, Alpha, Bravo, and Charlie. But in the end, it comes to Bravo area.
Okay. Eldoge,
What?
do you notice one thing?
What?
Zeus not moving anywhere.
Like Aerowolf yesterday.
Yeah. Oh my, look. He just staying there, stick together in that compound,
Yes.
that choke point, and the circle is just coming for the Zeus. It's like they have the fortune lady.
Yeah, they have the fortune lady, even though all the players are men.
Yeah,
But they
yeah.
have the fortune lady. But again, when it comes to you, but you can't manage it pretty well, it will become a backfire for you. And I think Zeus did pretty well. And this is the particular moment when Konina Power tried to push them. They can repel it pretty well. And even Zio is the man who banished Konina Power from the game.